Hello, everybody. I am Roman of Crypto Lions. Very happy to be here. First of all, huge shout out and thank you to Han and Santosh of Node 1 for pulling together the worldwide crypto community, the worldwide EOS community. We are very happy to be the sponsors of such a thing, one of the many sponsors of such a thing. And as a reward, I get to stand here hoping that I can say something that a room full of extraordinarily smart people will find meaningful, or at least interesting, or at least not boring. So the most important thing for a block producer is to produce blocks and to handle all the associated communication. But I will talk about the thing that it seems like most of us are doing as an addition to producing blocks, and that is building projects and infrastructure with the goal of making EOS more useful and more valuable. Specifically, I'm going to talk about 3 projects or categories of projects that I'm personally very excited about. And I'm excited about them because to me they do not seem like pie in the sky idealism. They seem like they are right at our fingertips, just waiting to be built. 6 months to beta, if not less. And because these 3 projects all have the potential to reach outside the EOS ecosystem and touch the real world and influence it in a positive way. So, firstly, I think EOS can change the way that software is sold by popularizing tokenization. Over the course of my lifetime, software sales have evolved. Software used to come on a piece of plastic in a box. When, during my adolescence, I was gifted the incredible gift of the video game Doom 2, it came on a piece of plastic in a box. And then we saw one-time software downloads. And then we saw what was rightly called the SaaS revolution, led in part by companies like Salesforce, and that has become the norm. Software is something you subscribe to monthly, and that's, I think, a very deeply entrenched belief. But we're starting to see some entrepreneurs do tokenization, and there are trade-offs there. It's not all good news, there are trade-offs. The most obvious benefit of tokenization is depending on how you issue your token, you get your starting capital. Let's say you do an airdrop and keep 10% from yourself, that's your starting capital. The most obvious risk of tokenization seems to be exposure to the volatility of the crypto markets. And the biggest questions regarding tokenization is exactly how you build your economics. Inflation, deflation, is that enough to cover your operating expenses? But the project that I envision might look like this. It might be called Tokenize My SaaS, and it might be a very simple UI that guides a SaaS-minded businessman through the steps of issuing a token, and also creates for them widgets that will serve as a login portal, a registration portal, and it will make tokenization a drop-in replacement for SaaS. And I think that has the potential to open up a big floodgate into crypto and into EOS in particular. So that's one idea that I'm excited about. We're not working on it yet. Happy to see anyone else do it, with or without, correspondence. The next 2 ideas that I thought I would share with you both are informed by the governance debates currently taking place in our community. I don't know what will happen, but it seems at least probable that governance will go from, doing this much to doing this much. And we will have all these bad behaviors left behind, which we can no longer suppress with direct legal pressure. So that is a calling to all of us in this room to figure out a way to suppress these bad behaviors with social pressure. So two projects that are definitely coming, which will help us with this responsibility. The first is reputation systems. This one is so obvious that it doesn't need explanation. Everyone understands right away. Reputation. I think it is so obvious that many people might not get it right. I think it'll require a lot of trial and error before we get working reputation systems. But you'll know it's working when the reputation has a life outside of EOS. When your EOS reputation becomes something that you want to show a potential employer, a potential business partner, or, oh my goodness, maybe even a potential lender. 2 ideas among many with reputation systems. First, it might be interesting to try to capture all the reputation that's already out there on the internet, but that is stuck in a silo, in the silo of a freelancer website like Guru, Upwork, Fiverr, or to capture the reputation information that's out there in GitHub or on electronic marketplaces like eBay or Amazon, and to make that part of a larger reputation system. Big project. Last idea I wanted to share about reputations is not so much how to build them, but how we might use them if we do indeed feel a responsibility to create social pressure. And this is for anyone who's thinking about an airdrop. It may be an interesting idea not to airdrop on the community as a whole, but to only airdrop on people who meet a minimum threshold of reputation. And that will certainly exert a lot of pressure. I don't know if that's the right answer, but I think it's worth talking about. The last project I wanted to share is the one that I'm personally the most excited about, and it's the only one of these that Crypto Lions is working on. We want to help people tell the truth and make it easier and more accountable to make promises, so we are working on truth-telling bonds. I'm sure there's a lot of overlap with what Block 1 say they would build, performance bonds, but we think this niche of making personal guarantees is going to be richer and more nuanced than anybody realizes, and so I think there's a lot of room for overlap and slightly differentiating products. So our interface will help you carefully articulate a promise. It will let you specify what constitutes a minor violation of the promise so you don't lose your whole bond for something that's akin to a typo. We help you specify who has standing, who can make claims against your promise. The boldest thing to do would be to let anyone make a claim against your promise. You can also specify that only certain accounts can make a claim, or you can make a description. For example, anyone who's been my customer can make a claim against this promise. We also let you specify who the beneficiary will be, and if you specify that anybody can be the beneficiary, anybody who makes the claims, it kind of has the nature of a bug bounty program for making promises. Alternatively, you can specify only certain accounts are the beneficiaries, or you could specify that you'll be retiring the tokens. So the timeline for this project looks like this. We plan to have a beta in just 2 to 4 months. We plan to be the first users of Truth Bonds. We will use it to make promises to the community about our own behavior, uptime, never missing a block, keeping our blacklist updated, all the usual block producer stuff, abiding by the Constitution. Within 1 year, we want to give up control of this project. To use Dan Larimer's metaphor, we want to be shipbuilders and not necessarily the sailors. To do that, we'll build a governance layer. And if we do an airdrop, we would love to think about the idea of only airdropping on people who have a certain reputation. Of course, that's predicated on the evolution of some reputation system when the time comes. Within 2 years, our goal is to have some journalists use truth bonds in an attempt to rise above this storm of fake news and give credibility to themselves, kind of like a bug bounty program for journalists, saying there will be no factual errors in our publications and we're putting up money to guarantee it. I think that would be awesome. Within 4 years, we want to see the first politicians using truth bonds to guarantee their promises to their constituents. How awesome would that be? And for my children and grandchildren, I would like truth bonds, or this idea that you guarantee your promises with real value, to be just another institution much the way insurance is for us, and I want it to be difficult for them to imagine what life was like before such a thing existed. So, thank you for your attention. We are very happy to be part of this community, and I look forward to getting to know the rest of you who I haven't already met. Cheers.